Hey, I've tried this like a dozen times and I'm trying to do this without taking 20 minutes of your time. So this is the Moondrop at Dark Saber. Inside the box, you're going to have these nice tips. You have a bunch of sets of these. You have a bunch of sets of the smoked ones, which are right here. On the cover, it says 3.5, but it actually has this is a nice case, by the way, too. It has a 4.4, so it is a modular cable, so that's a plus. Nice case, you can fit a DAC in there, as you can see. Solid, which should protect your investment. The cable, decent, modular. Overall, nice kind of plasticky feel, so it shouldn't catch on your clothes. Then we got the units themselves right here. And I don't know if you can see the sound tubes going up there. There's the balanced armatures. There's the dual horizontally opposed dynamic drivers. And that's shut off. I'm going to do that so it turns back on. Nice wood grain. And I think that the plastic and the wood grain, they look great. I think there's a similar one that's like really cheap. The Dusks or something like that. I don't know. I've never done that one. I've done the blessings, all the blessings from 1 to 3. I've tried the A8 and the S8. And I've tried the variations. I have not reviewed the variations or either one of those other two, the S8 or the A8. So for this video, I'll be comparing this with what I remember from the S8 and the variations with this. Maybe I'll get those and review them. They're kind of older now. But anyway, so looking on the back here, there is a chart. You can see the different specs there. You can see the chart from them. Spec-wise, we have 2 dynamics and 8 balanced each ear. 4 of the custom mid-range balanced armatures are for the mids. And then we have a Knowles SWFK tweeter balanced armature, 4 of those for the highs. 2 dynamic drivers, they're both 10 millimeter, 22 ohms, 128 decibels, less than 1 kilohertz THD. Frequency response technically is 7 to 41, but you can only hear 20 to 20. It is a 0.78 2-pin connector and a modular cable with both 3.5 and 4.4. Inside the case, like I said, you're getting an airplane adapter. You're getting the smoke tips, the nice case over there. I love these soft airs tips. They remind me of like Alaza clones, if I'm saying the name right. So it's a nice looking unit. And essentially, the shell may be a lot thinner than the S8s and the A8s and the blessings, but it still looks gorgeous. It feels good. There's good isolation. It's very comfortable. Like I said, it looks great. I do really like the look of this one. Compared to like the variations, I would go with this look because it just looks absolutely gorgeous, like some kind of custom with this like gray, real wood grain right there. Sound-wise, bass. The bass has a really, really nice kick to it. There's excellent punch to the bass. It's not the super speediest bass, but it's not like a very slow, bloated bass. It's somewhere in the middle of that. I think control-wise, there are, the variations does bass way better. It's deeper and it's more controlled than this one. So if you're looking for bass and you're looking for all the things that, I think that this one has better resolution and detail than the variations overall. But it's kind of, I don't know, the coherency is an issue because you have all this bass and this warmth and everything in the, the lower end. And then you immediately hit the mid-range, and the mid-range is not what you would think. It's not overly thick. It doesn't have like a lot of body and everything to it. It's a little bit on the thinner side. It's not as much in your face as, say, the S8. I think it's back just in front of the instruments. Still, Sounds good. There's good detail. It's got enough thickness and enough body to be very enjoyable. It's not shouty. It's not harsh at all. And it has some really good details. It kind of sounds almost crisp to that. So then we move into the treble. Now the treble, it has a very good extension. It has nice air. Not as much as the S8, but my thing's blinking. I gotta unplug it. Just give me a second. Not as much as the S8, but very good. More than the variations, I think, but not as much as the S8. So this kind of falls somewhere in the middle. Has very good soundstage. It's not super holographic, but it is very nice, wide soundstage. It has good accuracy. There's excellent placement in the imaging, so you could probably use it for gaming if you want to spend $700 on a gaming earphone. That said, what you're getting is essentially an S8 with 2 dynamic drivers each side thrown in. So you get 4 dynamic drivers in all. I think that it does a really, really good job, but it is walking a line in the middle between S8 and Variations. And Variations is cheaper, and S8 is probably the same or slightly more expensive, depending on where you get it from. I know Appos has like a lot of certified stuff. So you should always look there. If there's something you really want, you can get something from there that's been refurbished and it's excellent. It's just as good as new. Anyway, I like these. I really do. I don't know what this was made for, to be honest, other than the looks are completely different. I think that the bass people that want the bass and they want good resolution, they would go with the Variations. I think that the critical listening people would go with the S8, and then this one falls somewhere in between. Maybe some days you want to hear the details, maybe some days you just want that extra bass. I don't know how this would EQ, if you wanted to EQ it to the way you liked, but ultimately it's a nice kind of well-rounded IAM. I think that it goes well with like any type of music you can think of. I think from the lower mid-range and up to the treble sounds excellent. If thinner mid-range is okay with you, if you don't want a thick mid-range, I think if you like the treble response to be well extended but not too much, maybe you're treble sensitive, I think that's where this would fit in. You want some bass, but you don't want it overly bassy. You don't want it super bassy, but you do want bass. You don't want to have like that neutral bass where you can hear the punch and you can hear the detail. This has the impact that you need without being overly bassy. And I'm not saying that the Variations is overly bassy, but it does have more bass than this. I think this has a better kind of more rounded bass than, say, like the Blessing 3 that I just reviewed maybe a few months ago. But it's a decent IM, regardless. Let me put the light up a little bit so we can get a nice look. I think that the selling point is this gorgeous wooden grain. Obviously, it's going to be different with each unit. This nice resin shell, like I said, it is thinner than the other one. So let's just look in the box for a second without dropping something on the floor. Here is the box. I'm going to slide that over there. Here's the box. It opens up like that. You get these smoke tips, a whole bunch of those. You get a whole bunch of these crystal clear tips. You get that if you've ever used one of those. I never have. And you get these, which protect them, because they're going to get scratched if you're just cramming them in there with everything. Plus, you get all the documentation in there. Nice packaging overall. But, we're not buying it for the packaging. We're buying it for the sound. So, overall, it's a good IM. It just kind of falls in between those two IMs. One of them cheaper, one of them more expensive. This one kind of just slightly less expensive at $7. I think the S8 is almost $1,000 or $900. I'm not sure what the prices are now. I haven't checked them, but I do know this one is anywhere from $7 to $8 if you look online. So it's a nice looking IM. Sounds good. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, it's It's basically an S8 with 2 dynamic drivers and more bass. Not as much as the variations, but more bass. So it maintains a lot of the the nice resolution that the S8 has and the detail and clarity, but with some added bass to it. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Dark Saber from Moondrop. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.